All right, folks, defending his next-gen light heavyweight title, August 26th at Cage Fury 112 in good old Philadelphia, the one, the only, Luke Fernandez. Luke, my man, how's it going?
What's up, man? How you doing? I'm doing well.
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. So how you feeling? We're a week out from the fight officially tomorrow. You excited?
Very excited. I feel great. I mean, everything this camp has been going to plan. Other than like the change of opponents and stuff like that, these things happen. It's not in my power, but other than that, man, it's been going great. Very excited.
And have you been training at Dante Rivera for this fight?
I have. I've been training out of there since I started fighting about a little over 2 years ago. So that's my spot where I reside. That's my gym, and those are definitely my coaches. I look to them for all my advice and everything that I go when it comes to fighting.
Love it, dude. Love it. So as you mentioned, change of opponents, probably threw a little curveball in camp. You said camp went well overall. How did that change of opponents affect camp? Did it affect your game plan or anything, or you just business as usual?
I mean, game plan's always got to switch a little bit. It is a different opponent. But when it comes to my training camp, it doesn't really affect anything other than when you're in limbo of like, am I going to get a new opponent? The date was closing in, so we were just worried about getting a new opponent, making sure that we can get one to sign the contract and we can get that going. Didn't want to have to pull out and not be able to get an opponent for this fight. So I was just fortunate enough where I got an opponent. He signed the contract and we're ready to go. So other than that, everything stayed business as usual and we're ready to roll.
Yes, sir. So just to be clear, the new opponent is Reeves Davis Jr., yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. He's 8-1. We'll get into that in a little bit. I don't need to know your street name or anything like that, but do you live in New Jersey? Or are you in Pennsylvania? Where are you at?
I live in New Jersey. I do.
Cool.
I live in Lacey Township. It's a little south of Toms River. So that's where I stay.
A lot of talent up in Toms River when it comes to the UFC too.
Sure.
So are you a Philly guy? Have you been to Philly before? I assume if you're that close.
I mean, I fought in Philly a bunch of times. I've been to Philly for other occasions, stuff like that, but I'm not usually in Philly, but I have been to Philly, yeah.
You got a favorite cheesesteak spot?
I don't, and I don't want to be throwing names out there because I might butcher some, but I'm a guy that likes to eat, so anywhere that makes good cheesesteak, I definitely go there and do my thing.
Well, after you get your dub, get a victory cheesesteak at D'Alessandro's up north a little bit.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Yes, sir. So are Jersey, Pennsylvania? Are you a football guy at all? You sports guy?
I am. Unfortunately, I'm a Giants fan.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask you. Whatever. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as a Cowboys fan. So
It's my loss at this point, but maybe if not, we're used to it by now. So
and pretty much being a fan of anyone in the NFC East is a loss at this point. So
yeah.
Life goes on. So as I said, new opponent, Reeves Davis Jr., 8-1, pretty impressive record. You're 5-0, not quite as impressive as you're undefeated, but he's got the one loss, but he's got 8 wins. What are your thoughts on him and his opponent? Have you watched any tape at all?
I have. I mean, he's a talented fighter. All respect for him taking the fight. Respect for the 8-1 record. Anyone that I'm getting in the cage with, I respect as a fighter. I respect as a man for signing the dotted line and all that. But when it comes to game plan and me going forward, it's just another guy that I have to collect the head. Business as usual, training wise. I'm very confident in my skills and very confident in my work ethic. I just know that if I implement the game plan that me and my coaches talk about beforehand, that if I follow that, I'm very confident that we'll see the same type of result.
Love it, man. Love it. So 5-0. 4 of those 5 wins are by finish. You're now defending your belt again. What sort of style, flair, flavor, so to speak, what can we expect to see from you next Friday night?
I mean, realistically, I'm just trying to be calculated in all my movements and everything I do in the cage. I'm trying to be calculated. I'm trying to follow the game plan. I would love to show my tool belt, but I mean, if a finish comes earlier or anything like that, I'm not gonna be somebody that shies away from that just to put on some flair and flavor. I like to be dominant. I like to be somebody that really, there's no negative side of the discussion of the fight afterwards. I'm always trying to have a clean sweep, in every aspect, whether it's grappling, striking, or anything like that. Trying to keep it as clean as possible, trying to keep it in my favor. So, but But at the end of the day, I'm going to come in there with the will to win. I'm going to come in there with the same mentality I have in my last 5 fights. And you're going to see the same result. So it's just going to be one of those things that implement my game plan. That's all that matters.
Love it, dude. So 2,300, no stranger to you. What are your thoughts on the place?
I love it. At this point, it's almost like a home field advantage for me. I definitely get a nice crowd there every time. Not too far from where I live. It's like an hour and 15, hour 20. And I like the kind of grungy, like smaller, dark venue. But CFFC puts on a great show there, so it's really cool to be like that intimate with the fans. And like I said, I bring a big crowd there, so we kind of get that place roaring. And I'm expecting to put on a show to make them really explode.
I'm glad you described it as intimate because I love 2,300. Like, I've only been there one time for the Fury. I think it was 3 back like last December. But dude, I was front row, like 3 feet away from Andre Petrosky, Sean Brady wrestling. Like, it was awesome. So
I think that same event actually. But yeah, the Fury grappling is also super cool. And the fact that there's no cage involved, it's just like the mat there. And like you said, you're only like 3 feet from them. So it's really cool to watch those events. And it's very similar with the cage. It's like the crowd's right on top of you. So it's really cool to have that intimate feel, like you said.
I'm hoping to get there for the fights on Friday. So hopefully I get to see it in person. So you get the dub, you go 6-0, you keep your belt. What's next? When do you have a pro career in mind? Anything like that?
From what I understand, I believe the next step is going pro. My coach has been very adamant about that. We're going to get your last amateur bout. And everyone's always asking, like, when you going pro?
Sure.
That's been getting asked for the last few fights, but I've only been really fighting now for a little over 2 years. So I didn't want to rush it. I want to really get my, earn my stripes and really earn that way to going pro. I didn't want to have to be somebody that gets surprised going pro or anything like that. I want to feel comfortable in the cage with my cage time and my amount of fights where I feel confident going forward and climbing those pro ranks after this.
Yeah. And you're so young, so much potential, no rush at all. But I'm glad to hear that it's on the horizon because I think that'll be very exciting. I assume, again, we're not there yet, but would your first pro fight ideally be for CFFC?
How everything's looking, I would say, yeah, that's probably a good bet to make that I'll be fighting for them.
So let me ask you this. I've been interviewing a lot of like CFFC guys this week. I have some more scheduled, some guys from your gym. I'm kind of new to this, to spectating and being a media member of like the regional Pennsylvania scene. How, like, is it a problem in this region for fighters to, you beat everyone in your division and there's no one left, and now it's like, okay, shit, I got to either travel or go pro? Or is there like enough fighters that you kind of get a new pool, you can cycle through people, it's not like over and over the same guys?
For me personally, I feel like the light heavyweight division is kind of like a thinner division in general, especially in the amateur scene. And around here, I would say even more so. So a lot of my fights have been guys either traveling in from other areas, other parts of the country. But I think that's kind of safe to say that happens once you start getting a name for yourself. You start trailing to, putting together a bunch of wins. It's tough to keep an amateur record going. I see a lot of guys that are going pro maybe a little earlier. They're forced to because they can't hold opponents. Guys are pulling out, this and that. It's kind of one of those things where if you're almost lucky to keep an opponent, it's more about worrying about if the opponent's going to back out and stuff. That's always the scariest thing. Putting together a fight camp and you're just worried that guy's going to pull out. So that's really where I'm at.
Yeah, and luckily you got a new opponent because so, you go pro. Let's fast forward now, I don't know, 20 years, 30 years, you're retired. You did everything you wanted to do MMA career wise. How did it go down? What was your like dream career goal if everything went the way you want it to go?
Dream career goal. I would be retired with the most comfortable lifestyle living for me, my family, and whoever is my significant other at that point, my wife. I would like to have some kids. I would like to have a few championships under my belt. In my resume, definitely would love to have a UFC light heavyweight championship of the world. That's one of my goals. I would like to own my own business and have my own type of brand, and just really have a name for myself outside of fighting. I would like to be somebody that's, you know, multi-talented in different things. So just expanding that. And I think it all stems from me really chasing that like tool belt and building my tool belt, that I apply that to all aspects of my life. I really want to make myself a diverse type of talented type of person. So that would be my ideal retirement type of plan. Comfortable, my family comfortable, and just live a happy life where I could do what I want freely.
And UFC light heavyweight champion of the world.
Yes. That along the way is definitely in it.
Love it, man. Love it, man. I'll be glad to say, hey, I interviewed Luke when he was 5-0 as an amateur. Look at him now. So, so piggybacking off that, do you have, like, this is just a fun question, so if you don't have an answer, don't worry. Do you have like a dream fight? Any retired, fictional, current combat athlete? Anyone?
A dream fight. I mean, it's one of those things where I guess the ones I've seen dominate the most, John Jones he was the guy. And
Crazy, man.
Loved his style. I still look up to his fighting style and stuff. And now, I mean, he's fighting up at heavyweight and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm not calling John Jones out or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, I would love to grace the cage with one of my idols growing up, fighting wise, and that would be probably my main pick would be John Jones.
I call you crazy because 1% of the world has the bravery and courage to say that and want to do that. So that's great, man. Frank Wells, I interviewed earlier, who has the main event of your card. He wanted to fight. He wanted to fight Jose Aldo. I was like, okay, I'll take a pillow.
Respect.
So John Jones versus Luke Fernandez. I'm all about that. Sign me up. But no, I understand what you're saying. That'd be a cool fight. So another dream. Where's your dream venue? Favorite place you'd ever like to fight?
Dream venue. I mean, being a East Coast guy, Madison Square Garden would be sick. Love where it's about. My dad actually saw Tyson fight there, so it's one of those things I would love to be the main event at Madison Square Garden. That's definitely a dream of mine.
That would be sick, man. I go to every MSG card, so it would be an honor to give you a post fight after your main event someday. That'd be awesome. So Luke, I don't need to tell you this. I'm mainly telling the people that watch this. Fighting can be a very challenging, demanding, both physically, mentally, the highest of highs, the lowest of lows. It is not your normal career path. When things do get challenging, if they get challenging, whether it be in the gym, training camp, after a loss, which you haven't had yet, or even just like a late night, I'm doubting myself in bed type of deal. Yeah. What keeps you motivated and inspired to keep going?
What keeps me motivated and inspiring? I mean, I just focus on the fact of why I'm doing this and focus on it, that it's really for me. Like I wanted this dream and I wanted this path. But at the same time, like, I'm motivated by my family. I'm motivated by my friends that really believe in me. And I feel like I don't owe it to them, but at the same time, I owe it to them that if they're going to stick with me, I'm going to at least give myself that same that same belief. And I'm going to stick behind what I originally thought was my dream and originally wanted to be my path. So when I get, when you have those long nights where you're cutting weight or hard day at the gym where it didn't go your way, you didn't have your best training day, just think of it as like, I got all these people behind me that believe me, mainly because I believed in myself to create the dream. So I just focus on that. And I mean, the next day will come and the sun will rise. So just give yourself some time to like air it out. I journal, so I'll write all that stuff down. And it's funny you said that, the highs and lows. I actually have that written on the front page of my journal. Life has highs and lows. Enjoy the ride. So yeah, that's really how I go about it. I focus on the why, and that's my why.
Beautiful perspective. Frank, who I just mentioned, he had a quote that I really liked. He said, "Nobody needs help through the highs, we need help through the lows." And I was like, damn, yeah, you're right. So I love that perspective, man. Beautiful. So Luke, aside from you as a fighter, tell me about you as a person. Like, what do you do when you're not in the cage? Interests, hobbies? How do you spend your time?
In a fight camp, I don't do much other than train, work, and any spare chance I get, I try to hang out with my friends and family. But normal days, I lift in the morning, I go to work. I'm a roofer and exterior, like I work for an exterior company, so I'm on the roof outside all day, and then I go and train. But in my spare time, if I get time to myself, I like to go to the beach. I like to go out and hang out with my friends. Anywhere that we can go, like dance, have fun. Like, I'm all about that. So I like fishing, stuff like
Ooh.
that.
Like fishing, what do you fish for?
I mean, around here, I'm usually hitting lakes and stuff, freshwater, going for bass and stuff.
I'm a big freshwater fisher. So
I would love to get more into saltwater, being on the shore, but I just haven't really had time to like explore that and get into that. So
yeah, I've caught like little drums off the shore, but no, I'm a big bass and catfish guy. So good to hear.
I've seen your page. I've seen some of those fish.
I'm blushing. What's your biggest bass? You know?
I want to say my biggest bass. I mean, it's like an unofficial, but I would scale it down to say like it's like 4.5.
It's a good time right there, man.
Sure, it is a nice fish, but around here, there's not a lot of spots where they get real, real beefy. But
yeah, so you got to go down to like Texas, Florida, or California for the big boys. But
that would be a dream. And that clear water, they get real pretty looking. So,
dude, just bring the rod with you when you start fighting in Vegas and California and stuff, man.
I plan on it.
Yeah. So Clay Guida, who's I don't know how close is he to you? Do you know? Is he Tom's River?
Clay Guida, I'm not sure where he's from. I don't know if he's from.
He trains in Jersey somewhere.
Does he? I don't know.
I think so.
He's from Jersey originally. I might be wrong. He might be, but I'm not sure where he trains. I know like Frankie Egger's 10 minutes from me. Like that's Tom's River's right up the parkway for me. So,
I just know he brings his fishing stuff with him everywhere he travels for fights, and dude, like he catches some crazy stuff. So
that's awesome. I could definitely see myself doing that in the future.
Yeah. So are you you're a sports fan? Do you watch fights or do you just fight?
Yeah, no, I watch fights all the time. Whether it's I grew up watching boxing with my dad. My dad's my hands coach, so I grew up watching boxing with my dad like every weekend and stuff, and I still do that now. So we watch fights together all the time.
So you excited for 278 this weekend?
Yes.
Are you a bettor at all, or do you just watch? Like, do you gamble at all?
Unfortunately, I'm a bettor.
Great answer. So the podcast I run, Tapped Out, we're a betting podcast essentially on the BetQL network.
Okay.
You got any bets to lay down this weekend for 278?
Well, last weekend didn't go too well for me, so I deleted my bet. I do this all the time. I go through highs and lows of betting, and not that I don't bet like a lot or anything money, but I'm somebody that like hates losing in anything. So when I lose, I'll like give myself a week or two, and I'll delete my betting apps. But I haven't lined up anything now. Wow, you got bets?
Oh, I got bets. I actually have them in front of me, if you care. AJ Fletcher minus 150, cash it. Jose Aldo plus 105, cash it. And then like I have a huge bet on Usman and Paulo Costa parlay at minus like 120. Love it.
I like that. Yeah, I think Usman's safe. I don't know if he's right now touchable by a few guys other than I think Chimaev might have the recipe to give him a real run for his money, but I don't know if that fight ever happens. I've seen some interviews and stuff, and whenever it was hinted at, it almost seemed like Usman was saying like, I don't know if I'll still be in the division or fighting at that point when he gets the chance. So who knows? But yeah I think Usman's definitely a safe bet this weekend.
Yeah, I think Usman beats Leon, and then I think Chimaev smokes Nate Diaz. I think Chimaev calls out Usman. I think Usman will do some stuff like, no, I'm going to move up and fight for the 205 belt or something. I don't think he wants to smoke, man. I wouldn't want that smoke either.
He does, and I think that the Paulo Costa fight not Paulo Costa, the Burns fight with Chimaev kind of scared off a lot of guys. That's why guys like Nate Diaz are taking these fights where that dude will fight a bear. So
yeah, wild. So before we get out of here, I want to give you the opportunity. You know, you're going to have some eyes on you for this fight. You're going to get the win. You're going to go pro. You're going to have more and more eyes on you as your career goes on. I just want to give you the mic here. Anything you'd like to say to your friends, fans, family, supporters? Mic is yours.
To all my friends and family and all my supporters, I appreciate it. I'm excited to put on a show for them. Tune in this next Friday, August 26th, CFFC, 2300 Arena. I'm going to put on a show, and moving forward, this is just the beginning. Like I'm still an amateur and stuff. I expect big things for myself. I have a big future ahead of me. So jump on the bandwagon while it's hot, because we're only going up from here. I'm very excited.
The Luke train, bro. I'm on board. So Luke, yeah, thank you so much, dude. Like he just said, like I said, go check out CFFC 112, get your tickets. It'll be streaming on Fight Pass, I believe. Don't miss these guys. Bunch of studs, including this undefeated fella in front of me, Luke Fernandez. Luke, thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me on, man.
Of course, dude. We'll do it again after you get that dub, and from there in person, I'll buy you a beer afterwards. All right.
Sounds good. Look
Yes,
forward
sir.
to it.